So, good morning, everybody, and you're very welcome to Festive Friday. This is a joint webinar between Sight and Sound Technology and our friends here at Fighting Blindness, Ireland's leading research sight loss charity. My name is Stuart Lawler from Sight and Sound Technology, and we also have with us from Seescape over in Fife in Scotland, the wonderful Stuart Beveridge. It wouldn't be a Christmas webinar for Sight and Sound without having Stuart Beveridge to talk about his year in review. But we have a whole panel of tech gurus with us today from Fighting Blindness as well to talk about their tech of the year, maybe glimpsing a little bit ahead to next year, and of course, taking your questions and comments as well. And with that in mind, if you'd like to ask questions, you can raise your virtual hand by pressing Alt and Y or Option and Y if you're on a Mac, or you can access the raise hand button if you're joining us on a mobile device, which is usually found within the more options area of the Zoom app. If you'd like to chat with us, and our colleague Leah from Sight and Sound is manning chat today, you can do that by pressing Alt and H if you're on Windows, Option and H if you're on the Mac, or accessing the chat option if you're on a mobile app. And we will make sure to take your questions and comments as we go along, because we suspect there's going to be plenty of those to deal with. So before we start, I'm going to hand over to Jade McCormick from Fighting Blindness and the DigiCoach project to introduce the team from Fighting Blindness and talk a little bit about their project. Jade.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us this morning on what I know is a very cold Friday morning here. So we are the DigiCoach project with Fighting Blindness. We are one-to-one peer support coaches. So we coach people on all aspects of your assistive technology. And we are partnered with St. John of God's Liffey Services, and we're funded by Rethink Ireland. And if you want to know more, you can email us at insight@fightingblindness.ie to find out more.
All right, fantastic. And from the DigiCoach project, then, Jade, your colleagues here, we have Stuart Haxel, Jackie McBurty, Declan Mina, and Ken Walsh. Guys, you're all very welcome. Stuart Beveridge, good morning.
Good morning.
How's the weather in Fife in Scotland?
It's not too bad. It's been a bit wet. We always do this, don't we, Stuart? We have
We do.
a chat about the weather,
We
but
do.
yeah, been a bit wet, but it's not as cold this year as it usually is. So the dog and I are still happily just walking around quite happily at the moment.
Okay, sounds good, Stuart. And we're looking forward to checking in with you in a few minutes to talk about technology. Not least, I think, Stuart, we want to hear how your air fryer is going. I think it was 2 years ago we were left in a terrible state at the end of the session when your air fryer broke. If some people who were at our Christmas session back then might remember. But I'm going to start off by talking or chatting to you all about, I suppose, the wearables that probably were the talk of the blind low vision community this year, and that's the Meta Ray-Bans. And I know a number of you guys on this call, a number of our panelists have Meta Ray-Bans. I don't, would you believe? I know Stuart Beveridge does, and Stuart Haxel and Jackie. Um, I don't have them, and I'm not sure why I don't have them, to be honest. I've never worn glasses. Maybe that's a thing. But you guys do, and Stuart Haxel, I know you were kind of keen to chat about webinars and or about, sorry, about the metas and kind of what they've done for you.
Yes, I would be the same. I actually have never worn glasses myself, but I saw a lot of talk about them online, and I thought I have a little bit of money here. I'll make a bit of an impulse buy. And I went and got them, and I have not regretted them. They are absolutely fantastic. I love that even just using them as Bluetooth headphones, they are fantastic. You're able to hear what's around you and they're very comfortable. And I like how discreet they are as well. They don't look unusual if you were to wear them out. What I've been told anyway, they don't look unusual. And the ability to actually call people through them and get them to see what you're seeing through the camera, honestly, that is a fantastic feature. And of course, with Be My Eyes as well included on that, and Ira.
So that feature, Stuart, of calling someone on WhatsApp, as you've just mentioned, on a video call, maybe calling someone who you trust, because maybe, and we all think, we all know about Be My Eyes, it's a great service, but sometimes you just maybe there's a particular reason you want to talk to someone who you know, and you can call them on WhatsApp and they see the feed from your camera and the glasses. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, you can. Once you call the person on WhatsApp, there's a camera button up at the top right hand of the glasses. If you click that in twice, it'll jump the feed from your phone right to the glasses. You hear a little noise and it says camera switched. And they are able to see from your point of view out of your eyes pretty much to see what you're looking at, and they can direct you. So it is quite a beneficial feature, and especially if you want to call someone that you know, for say if you wanted to look at something private that you don't want maybe a volunteer from Be My Eyes to see. Or
Yeah.
yes. And of course the AI is incredible as well.
Jackie, you've been exploring or using these glasses with the Ira service quite a bit, isn't that right?
Yeah, and I'm a bit obsessive. I have the Gen 1 and Gen 2, Bella and Edward. But anyway, Ira is amazing. I was recently introduced to it, and you knew it existed, but you never done anything about it, sort of thing. Never done anything about it. I've used it for navigation, and I was literally blown away. I got lost, and again, I could have done a family member, but they wouldn't have known where I was either. So I rang Ira. She was able to locate me on the wee dot on the map and guide me home using Google Maps. And I was literally in complete awe of it. And of course, like this is a subscription service, and I decided to subscribe because the use that I've got out of it is unbelievable. And on the Gen 2 metas, the connection is so stable, so clear, so it's fantastic. I'm in awe of it.
I was going to ask you, Jackie, what's the difference between the Gen 1 and Gen 2? So is it just better connectivity, a better camera, or
it's longer battery, and I would find a lot better, a more stable connection, because Ira also uses WhatsApp. They send you a link and you connect, and then you press the capture button for the feed to go to the camera. And even for personal WhatsApp calls with family and videos, I'd done it with my sister, and she was giving me a detailed description of who was passing me and smiling at the dog. And the connection was definitely a lot more stable.
okay? And Stuart Beveridge, you've got the Meta glasses as well. You're a fan, I think.
Yeah, sorry, just Jackie, can I ask you a question? Because I don't think I have Ira on. Is that in the accessibility settings of the app? Because I don't seem to have it in the UK. I just want to clarify.
No, you ring Ira and they send you a link, and
Okay.
it then comes through WhatsApp. But I think I can see them coming hopefully onto Meta as, but you just press the capture button. And
So it is a WhatsApp
Oh,
call
it's
that they're
WhatsApp.
using.
it is a
Okay,
WhatsApp call they're
okay,
doing, yeah.
okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, sorry, Stuart, you're a fan as well, I know.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't need to go over what's just been said. The only other things I would say is the one thing I really like on these things is I hold up, say a letter comes through the door, or something comes through the door. I hold the lighter up and the metas are on my head, so it's hands free. And I just basically say to it, hey, Meta, and I say, read this document. Now, what happens there is rather than read the document in full, it summarizes it. So I found this very interesting because I thought, a lot of the mail I get it's junk, to be honest with you. So I can't be bothered with it reading, everything from top to bottom. So I know within a couple of seconds, this can go in the paper bin then. But if it is really important, what you can then say, if once you get the gist of the document, if you really need to, you can say, hey, Meta, read this document in full. And then it will actually read the entire thing. So I just find that, and honestly, the processing time, let's just say compared to other things on the market at the moment, I mean, it's doing it in seconds. And the only other thing I would say is great with I have the Gen 2s as well. I'm down the street, the glasses are on my head, and the guide dog stops now. Bless young Dax, but he can't tell me why he stopped, why he's
Yeah.
taken a different path. He can't communicate as great as he is. And I just basically say what's in front of me or take a look and describe my surroundings, and then you have the absolute picture of what you're facing and why you stopped.
Incredible stuff. And of course the metal glasses. I, I suppose what I think is interesting about them is they were created without ever being thought of as an accessibility tool, but all this stuff is just built in, which is kind of interesting. Um, Okay, let's move on. And just before we move on, I'll just remind people again about chat. If you want to put a comment or question in chat, if you have any of this technology or there's something about the technology we're talking about that you want to know, or indeed there's something else, you can do Alt and H on Windows, Option and H on the Mac, or you can choose the chat button on your mobile device. And same with raised hands, Alt and Y, Option and Y, or choose the raised hand button. But I want to go to Declan because Declan, and I know you have been for a long time doing something very interesting around coding as part of your work with Trinity College. Every time I meet Declan, I ask Declan about robots. That's because my 6-year-old is fascinated by robots and we want to build a robot someday. So maybe Declan, we might ask you for help to build a robot someday. But for the moment, do you want to talk about some of the coding work you're doing?
Yeah, I suppose I've always been interested in computers and I studied computers and then maybe took a bit of a step back and I came back to maybe, electronics as a hobby and I really enjoyed it. Obviously, there's some challenges with learning to wire up stuff and code stuff when you have sight loss. So I started work on inclusive workshops a few years ago, and then this year I'm part of a Research Ireland Discover program in partnership with Trinity called Vision Code, and we have a group of young people with sight loss who are now doing coding lessons. So they've done 10 remote coding lessons. They did a big workshop in Trinity. They've then done other projects and they've displayed their work. And the main thing we've used is actually the BBC Microbit. So it's a small little handheld board that you can code on and it does lots of things. It makes noise. It even has a very primitive speech synthesizer. HAL would sound good in comparison, but we've had lots of fun with it. We've done music, we've done games, we even did some singing DNA. And really, this all started because I heard someone say, "Oh, my daughter or my son can't do coding because they're blind." And I'm like, "Well, I have a computer science degree, so actually they can." And it's just about very small adaptations to make things accessible.
And this is something, Declan, that obviously people totally blind can do. You mentioned there's a speech synthesizer, so it has some built-in screen reading functionality.
Well, it's more for the output. So you program it over Chrome using web USB or through an app, and there are some problems with the app. You would need sighted assistance for connecting it for the first time, but then it all works very well. And you just type in Python. And again, there's some settings on screen readers you can change because Python uses white space and the amount of white space before a line actually matters. So there's a bit of work to be done there, but it's just like one setting on a screen reader. Then for the output, you can either output a musical note, you can output a sound effect, or you can output text. And sighted people would use, there's a little matrix of LEDs. So it's like 25 dots across the front of the board that can just about make some text, but you can then output that in speech and you can almost understand it. It's a bit interesting.
This type of programming obviously is a way to, I guess, get people encouraged into the whole area of coding and maybe look at that as a career or something in college. Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, actually, that's very interesting. That's obviously one idea that, someone will do this, enjoy it, and then, oh, I want to study computers. And some of our participants are doing that. But like we've participants who want to do absolutely everything. We've scientists and maybe they can use this to make their own instruments. We've got people who might want to design a medical device. We've got people who just find it interesting and are just doing it because, it's an interesting way of exploring the world. But the real exciting bit now is that it's not just code on a computer, it's physical devices that are really small and really cheap, and you can actually instruct them as well. So you can make little sensors, you can make your own light sensor, for example. You can, if we made a big radio controlled instrument, so each board, you shook a board and it played a different note on all the other boards. So we played with radio. And then we even did some e-textiles. So we actually wove a conductive yarn into a swatch of fabric and then connected it up to the microbit and it made some interesting sounds. So we really explore the gambit. It's very much coding, but it's also music, science, a lot of stuff, and even textiles.
Wow. It sounds really interesting. And again, just let people get creative, let them loosen a device. Any of the rest of you guys tried it out? Stuart Haxel or Jackie or Stuart Beveridge or Jade
I
or
haven't
Ken?
had a chance
No?
to try it, but every time Declan talks about it, it sounds very intriguing,
Mm.
Yeah,
honestly.
I have tried it. To say unusual, but very interesting of what you can actually do on these
Yeah.
with wires and cables, and I find it very fascinating.
Yeah, I'm the same as Jackie. I tried it as well with the taster session Declan had, and it's interesting. I thought at one stage my computer was going to blow up. It started making really weird noises, but
It
We
was talking
might
to
go.
you as an alien.
yeah.
Read it.
Um,
Okay.
We might go.
can I just
Oh,
jump in for a
sorry.
second? Sorry, Leah.
Yeah,
I just
no
want to
problem.
clarify something. The Meta glasses and Ira are not to be used as a mobility tool. They are just for guidance. I just want to reiterate that we're not endorsing that they be used as a mobility tool.
Okay, very important. I think that's a good point. Leah, I know I see a bit of chatter in the chat.
Mm.
Chatter in the chat. What are people chatting about today?
Yeah, we have a couple of introductions and a couple of hellos, but we also have a couple of questions as well. So our first question that came in was from Mary, and she's asking how to spell the IRA that we were talking about a couple of
Uh,
minutes ago.
AIRA.
Okay,
Perfect.
brilliant.
That's how we spell that one. And then we have a message from Robert Powell. He also wishes us a Merry
Oh, yeah,
Christmas.
yeah.
So in terms of the Ray-Ban glasses, the Gen 1 glasses are on offer at the moment. Is there any advantage for a VI personal in terms of functionality of buying the Gen 2 apart from the longer battery life? Um,
So that's probably a
so
question for either Stuart or Jackie in terms of difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2 if you're totally
If we
blind.
just
Do you want
mention,
to answer that one, Jackie? Since you actually have both, you can probably give a clearer answer.
I find the longer battery life and the connectivity to the likes of WhatsApp and the camera, even with the likes of Be My Eyes, and because like I've say rang Be My Eyes on the Gen 1 and asked them say to read a date or a label, and the camera was fuzzy, but on the Gen 2 they weren't fuzzy.
And is the Gen 2 the device, Jackie, that will have later next year support for the screen reader? They're going to build a screen reader into that. Is that the same one?
I think that's the
I
display version, isn't it? The Vanguard one, I think.
Okay.
yeah
So that's a separate pair again.
yeah
It is,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hope that helps. And Rob Powell is also the editor of the Jubilee Tape magazine, so we give him a plug there. He's always comes along to Sight Village and meets us at Sight and Sound. So jubileemagazine.com, I think, is the website if people want to check that out. Is there any other questions you want to draw
yeah,
to our attention, Leah?
there's a
Yeah.
couple of things. We have James Cunningham, or he might go by Jim, I believe. So James has a message in the chat, and he says, I've asked the glasses for information about my environment and objects in it, only to have the Meta AI not tell me about their presence. For example, cars or pavements and on roads. When I've gone in to correct it, it has admitted its mistake, but then it's too late. Instead, I use Be My Eyes for object detection if I want to if I want it when out and about. Sorry, my observation is broken up a bit. I have inadvertently hit return a few times. Hope that you can understand that and where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Any comments on that? Yeah.
I again, comparing the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, I would be a bit reluctant to do because again, it's not all that sometimes that accurate was a thing. But on the Gen 1, if I said what side is the object on, it would say the left, but
Yeah.
it's on the right. But in the Gen 2, it actually seemed to learn it's left and it's right.
And this will also depend on if you have turned on the detailed description setting under the accessibility settings in Meta AI. That has been put in there for blind and visually impaired. And I do notice that they tend to get the directions of things a lot more accurate, and they do give you a lot more information if you have that setting turned on.
Okay, good tip there. Thanks, Stuart, and thanks, Jackie. Leah, we'll come
Brilliant.
back to you
Thank you.
in a while, so hold
Yeah.
those chats. I know there's more
There's a
coming in.
couple of different things. Yeah.
I want to go back to Stuart Beveridge, because Stuart, you've got your hands on something that I want to get my hands on. So maybe I should come over to Fife and visit you. The BT Speak. This is this Blazy Engineering or Blazy Technologies, who some of the people behind Blazy Engineering who've come and made this Linux note taker. What's the verdict?
Yeah, so I've actually had it a couple of weeks, so I'm a bit, not even 2 weeks. I'm a wee bit green around the gills, but with it. But basically, it's a it's a speech output and Braille input device. So, right from the start, just to be absolutely clear, there is no Braille display, but you have an 8-key Braille input keyboard. And honestly, it's tiny. Even in the case, it just fits in your jacket pocket. It's about maybe the size of two iPhone stacked on top of each other, maybe two iPhone 17 stacked on top of one another, and it's about the size of them widthwise, etc. as well. And it is literally a pocket braille computer. So, I mean, the heart of it is the editor, the word processor. That thing just does everything. You can translate, it does PDFs. It's an insanely good word processor, but it also has additional functions. So, you can use it for web browsing. It's got YouTube. It's got a chat GPT function in there, a radio player, podcasts, it goes on and on and on. And there are two modes. So for those who maybe just want to stay in a traditional, easy to use Braille environment, there is a BT mode, which has a lot of these functionalities, such as the editor and the file manager and all of that nice stuff, YouTube calendar, all that side. But if you really want to get into it, there is also a desktop mode which uses something called the Orca screen reader, which I'm not really familiar with, but I'm learning, and that allows you to go into other seriously good desktop applications that you'd find on computers, such as Thunderbird for your emails. You've got your Chrome, the LibreOffice, which I haven't explored yet, but even now, just before I kind of finish this part, just on coding, this was what really attracted me to it, because it actually now has something called BT code, which actually learns you in short, easy to understand tutorials all about Python, which I'm finding really, really interesting, because what you're going to be able to do in coming updates and can already do is, if you learn Python, you can actually code your own apps and build them in to the BT Speak, which I think is really quite fascinating. So hopefully that's just a bit of an overview of the BT Speak. Just be aware that in the UK, because BT Blaze Technologies won't really give it to any other distributors at the moment, I did get hit with a big import charge on top of the original price.
Yeah, I think a few people have talked about that import. Those import fees are quite high. Stuart, is there a talk, or I heard talk earlier in the year that there may be a version coming out with Braille display as well. I don't know if you
Yeah,
heard
there's
anything
a
about that.
BT Braille. I'm just going to hang off on that at the moment, but there were pre-orders coming out, so they'll
Okay.
definitely get, and there's a 20 cell and a 40 cell, but I mean, I think the Forticell in particular, where I looked at, was something like 6,000. Don't quote me on this, but it was around $6,000 or something, and I just thought, "Ooh, that's hefty."
Okay. That's good. Thanks for that, Stuart. I just want to remind people there's loads of chat, plenty of chatter going along. We will go back to Leah in a few minutes and see how people are getting on. I know there's some questions and comments about metas, which just shows how popular they are.
Sorry,
Going into
Stuart. Al, can I just ask Stuart B?
yeah,
Is there a command to switch, from the kind of the basic one to the computer one in the BT speak?
Yeah. So you can toggle between the two. You'll always, by default, whenever you go into the BT speak from when you power it on, it always goes into the BT traditional mode. And then if you want to switch to the desktop mode, it's space 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and dot 8. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 space and dot 8. And if you want to switch back to the traditional mode, it's just the same, but it's dot 7 rather than dot 8.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very
okay.
much.
Thanks for that, Jackie and Stuart. And yeah, just was going to mention if anyone wants to raise their hand, we've lots of chat. If you want to raise your hand and actually ask a question to our panel here, you can do that as well. Alt Y or Option Y if you're on a Mac, or access the raise hand button. I wanted to just ask Ken to chat to us a little bit about. Ken has the iPhone 17, 17 Pro even. Very lucky. Ken, I've been reading about this and the better battery life, of course, better cameras, what they talk about every year, better various different components in the phone. How are you finding it?
It's absolutely fabulous, Stuart. Size-wise, I had the iPhone 14 Pro. There isn't too much of a difference. It's a fraction bigger. It's a fraction wider, but not much. I love the new bar charging. Like you can set a charging limit that it doesn't go past 80% if you want. Because like charging your battery, no, I'm not endorsing this either, but like charging your battery to 100 isn't the best, I'm led to believe. So again, I set that limit 80%. It would be good though if they kind of set it down to 30%, 25%, that it doesn't go too low. But I suppose in years to come they'll bring that feature in. So I love that battery feature on it. The camera is brilliant, as you said. One thing I do like about it is the camera button on the side of the phone. It's like a physical button. Um, it's down, I suppose, towards the bottom of the screen, on the side of on the device, and halfway down towards the end on the right hand side. You press it and it brings up the camera. It's absolutely brilliant. And I thought I'd find myself like pressing it a lot by accident when I'm holding it. But thankfully I haven't. Now you can disable that feature as well and assign something else there if you want it. So yeah, the camera, as I say, is brilliant. Another feature about it is, you had the little rocker silent button before up on the left hand side. They've replaced that now with a physical button you actually press and hold to bring it between silent and ringing mode. The only thing I find myself doing is like pressing when I'm lowering voiceover, bringing it up, that I press the silent button by accident because it's flat before, as I say, I was used to the rocker button. But yeah, and again, I liked Apple Intelligent with Siri. Gives it like before when you were asking Siri a question, you kind of got a little vibration. Now you get a little chime. It makes a lovely little chime when you press it. For Apple Intelligence and Siri, and overall, it's just a lovely little phone. And I like the iOS 26 as well because I hadn't updated for the previous few months. But when I got the phone, I had no other option but to update. And yeah, it's thankfully there's no bugs. It seems to be going really smooth. So overall, it's brilliant, and it's like, I think when I started off first with my iPhone 4S years ago, they were only 16 gig. Now the minimum is like on this phone is 256. So it seems to be getting bigger and bigger like the whole time. So
Yeah,
it's just a
great.
it's just a lovely little phone in general.
Thanks for sharing that, Ken. I think it's interesting for maybe people who, as you said, you were coming from the iPhone 14, so you saw the upgrade. If you were on a 15 or 16, whether you want to upgrade, that's another question, but you've given a really good overview there. Are we all iPhone on this call? I know Declan is Android, I think. Is anyone else Android? Is the great
I'm
Android iPhone debate?
Uh,
long-suffering Android and
Long
on the
suffering.
brink of
we,
switching.
we've
They've
nearly
added a
we've
new
nearly got to
feature.
Bridgestone.
On the brink of
So
switching, Declan. This is big news.
they've
Mm.
they've added a new feature.
Exclusive.
So if you hadn't finished reading your first email, Don't worry, because when you move on to the next one, it'll still read the previous email to you just to make sure you catched up. This is on a Pixel 7 Pro using the Gmail app, so I'm just nearly at my wit's end. I will say I did get a new phone, which is a physical keyboard phone, and I'm thinking of switching to that. So that's the Unihertz Titan 2. I backed it on Kickstarter, but the only problem is it's not waterproof.
And
Not,
we've converted to iPad, Declan. You must mention that.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's what I
I've
meant
just
by the nearly. We've got him halfway there. Yeah.
Nearly. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Brilliant.
we could have a whole session just on iOS and Android. I will come back to chat and raised hands as well. I see a few raised hands in a second, but just before I do that, I want to go step away from it for a moment and talk about the more domestic in the kitchen stuff that we all need to do. And one of the things that people really got involved in, especially during the pandemic, was air fryers. Everyone got an air fryer. But there's a lot of air fryers out there at the moment. Some are more accessible than others. And Jade, you were keen to talk to us about the Kasori air fryer.
Yeah, I suppose just because everyone, would say, oh, like a lot of the air fryers now are touchscreen and they're not accessible. And, you know, a lot of people would find, I know for me, the Cobalt one, the Talking Cobalt was a bit too verbose. And it just didn't leave you with a lot of options. And I think it was at the middle of this year, I discovered the Kasori. I was always looking for a double drawer air fryer because when you're feeding more than one person, you really do need it. And I was looking and I found this Kasori dual air fryer, and lo and behold, it worked with the smartphone. And I did some research and found out that yes, it is accessible. So I purchased it and I have not looked back. Like, the app is very easy to use, it's easy to set up. Now, I will say I did need some sighted assistance to place some tape or bump ons or something on the on off button and the start button, because once you click start cooking on the app, you do need to physically actually start it. So that's something to be aware of. You do need to physically press a button to start it. But with the help of a bump on or some sticky tape, it was really easy to place them. And like, it's just everything is preset for you. Like, so for example, if I wanted to cook sausages, you select that on the air fryer app. It gives you the temperature, it gives you the time. You just press start and off it goes. So there's no messing with it. It's a really nice air fryer. And there is like the single ones. I think I've seen one recently where you can, like, on certain ones, you can get a shake reminder. Um,
Mm.
or I don't know, Stuart, is your one like the shake reminder, and you can do a preheat, but I can't.
Yeah, the shake reminder. I have a Kasori single. The cassette shake reminder is brilliant, and as you say, preheat the device as well. And you did mention the app. Somebody mentioned before we came on air. Is it Jackie? I think about the syncing the drawers. If
Yes.
you're cooking two different things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so on the Cobalt one, I don't think you can. I think Stuart Beveridge might correct me, but I don't think you can. But on the Kasori one, you can. You can do a sync option or you can do a match. So if you're using both drawers and you want them both to cook with the same settings, you can just turn on the match option and they'll both cook with the same settings. It's like that. It's very easy to use with VoiceOver, and I have no issues with it so far.
So stick around. If you've been sticking around on our Festive Friday for the last 2 years, you'll remember that Stuart Beveridge got a Cobalt air fryer 2 years ago. It tragically fell and
Oh
smashed and
no.
had to be replaced. Stuart, how is it? Is it okay still?
Well, that was the single drawer one. The two drawer one wasn't available at the time, so I ended up just buying the two drawer one from Cobalt again. And I know what the guys mean. I know somebody else who I can't remember the name of his one, but he's got a smart air fryer that works with his phone as well. And the only reason that it put me off was because you know what happens if you've got something like Hive, or I know it's a bit
Yeah.
off topic, but if they update things and something breaks in the app, I'm in trouble. So I thought, right, I'm just going to go for the two drawer, reliable talking one. And it's really, really good, really, really simple to use. All the buttons, they're touch buttons, but they've got raised circular tactile markings around them, and it speaks. It is a bit verbose, as they say, but I think It does what I need it to do. The only problem I found is that the drawers don't sync. But if you're prepared to put up with that, then it's really quite a nice device.
For the Kasori app, Stuart, they have done a couple of updates, and so far we haven't been affected.
Yeah,
Good.
and what I've also done with mine is rather than using the basic app, I've taken the two air fryers that I have, because I have the 6.4 and the same one as Jade.
The
So I
10
have
liter.
so I have them on my home screen. Again, I named them. It's Michael and Edward. I'm obsessed with I'm obsessed with Twilight. But I just find them, and you can take the middle bit out, so it becomes a 10-liter air fryer.
Yes, and you can do one bit. Now, I have not yet tried this. I don't know if you have, Jackie, but with the Kasori, it's a dual one, but it can also be turned into one big drawer. So you can do things like a roast chicken or whatever. Now, I have not been brave enough to try it.
No, I'm the same.
Right. Well, the next Festive Friday, instead of mince pies, we'll serve roast chicken by Jade and Jackie. Jackie, you've pricked up my ears there. You don't use the Kasori app, but you do something else to put the air fryer on your home screen.
I like when you set up the app, you can move that icon to the home screen, so you don't have to use the basic app to.
I did not know
search.
that.
I did know that actually.
How does one? You'll have to tell me off air how to
Well,
do
come sign up for DigiCoach.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Great plug there, Stuart. Great plug. Okay. Right. It sounds like we're all doing great things with air frying. I do have a hand raised, so let's just go to our raised hand because Gina has had her hand up for a little while, and then we'll come over to Leah and see how chat is going. And then I want to talk to Stuart Beveridge about the Ally Solo glasses. We've been talking a lot about Meta, but there are other glasses available, and I know there's been various pieces of feedback received about the Ally Solos. So, Gina, you should be able to unmute yourself, and we'd love to hear your question. I think you're unmuted, Gina.
Can you hear me, guys?
We can.
Yeah, some of you know me. It's Gina McNamara in Galway. I was just wondering, since all this Gemini came in, it's kind of back to the Stuart there, back to the Android. I have Android devices. I know this is really weird, but I got rid of my Apple phone. This is only my experience, guys, because it locked me out of everything with the Apple ID. So I just changed for my own self, like I changed to Android. But since the Gemini has come in, the Bixby on the phone, it's kind of going to weird kind of Gemini stuff. Does anybody know about that?
Yeah, so Gemini is Google's new both voice assistant and AI. Now, you do need to give it some permissions, and to be honest, the interface is very clunky. I think
it is a bit,
when you do, you have to, I think, go into settings somewhere to give it permission to access all your stuff, and then I think it will work. But yeah, it's not the best.
So I'm not the only one.
No.
And also, in terms of the air fryer, I got my first air fryer last Christmas. And what I do is I put bump-ons and all the numbers in mine and use the light with my magnifying glass to help me in it. I have the one drawer and it's brilliant.
All right, Gina, great tips, and thank you very much for that. Right, let's go over to Leah and see how there's been bits of chatting, I think, Leah.
Yeah, you nearly lost me. I nearly went in to make something to eat with all this air fryer chat. So yeah, there's been a couple of questions and there's been a couple of recommendations. So thanks to Nada who recommended the cookie app. And then we got to Gina, so we got to speak to Gina. And then Robert came in and let us know that the jubileemagazine.org.uk, it's currently under construction at the moment, but should be up before Christmas. So that would be great. And then we have Lucy. Lucy says that she's noticed that Gemini AI will often say it can't read the text out, even if you ask it to read the document in full. Is that the same as the Meta glasses? So I think that might be something similar to Gina's problems.
So I
But
wouldn't I wouldn't be using Gemini to read
No.
documents, and there are lots of apps out there that can do that, but I just wouldn't try it with Gemini. I know Google has Google Lens, but there's probably about 5 or 6 apps other people on the call can name that'll do a better job.
that's brilliant. I might add some of those into the chat at the end. So thanks, Lucy, for that question. And then Andrew came in and said that he has a Google Pixel 10 and a Samsung S25, and he thinks they're actually really good. And we also have some more questions about recommendations for VI students for apps. So, is there any kind of key apps that people would recommend on the panel today? So, we might go to that question maybe.
So I think that question is probably asking for, I guess, and whoever asked the question might like to clarify if you're just sort of asking about apps, general apps that people find useful for day-to-day
Yeah.
independence or accessibility. Are we talking
Stuart, can
travel?
I jump in? Because there is an app that I know students are using at the minute, and I've done a bit of playing around with it. It's called Kahoot. It's sort of a quiz, kind of a test quiz app. And I know my sister now, obviously she's fully sighted, but her school are using it a lot, and they do find it very useful. But it's for VI, it's only useful if you make your own, where you can take out some of the features that are not accessible. But it's a nice one to use with students.
Okay, so Kahoot
Yeah.
on the App Store.
And that's Andrew Veazey. So if Andrew wants to speak, I can allow you to speak.
Yeah, I
Not
know
sure.
Andrew. Andrew is a technology trainer in the UK. So Andrew, great to see you, and we'll certainly come back to that question.
Yeah, so I think what Andrew meant was phone apps day to day. So possibly doing different things like reading documents or doing other day to day kind of tasks. So that's
I
what
might
Andrew
give you
meant.
two. So Envision
Thanks.
AI I find good for, quick reading and scanning, and there's a few others as well. And then I've been playing around with Soundscape recently and have found that very good as a navigation app. So there are two I'd recommend, but there's loads out there.
It's worth saying there are various versions of Soundscape out and about, aren't there, after it
Yes,
became free source. And the one that I know, and
I
I know
use the
Stuart,
Scottish Tech Army
yeah,
one.
exactly. And I know that Stuart Beveridge has had a hand, I think, loosely in that, Stuart, is that fair to say it's a good app?
Yes, and it is actually at the moment we're trying to even get it out on Android. There is a beta version that you can have a look at on Android as well, and it does most of the things that you would expect on the iOS side as well.
Yeah, so Scottish Tech Army version of Soundscape seems to be the one that's certainly most active at the moment, I think, in terms of development. Um, okay, we'll come back to Leah and chats in a sec, but I just
Hmm.
wanted to chat with Stuart Beveridge for a minute we've been talking a lot about metas. Stuart, you've also had a chance to have a play with the Envision Ally glasses. These are the Solos glasses. Which have been out for a couple of weeks. I think they were sent out to the early adapters, I think, first. So how have you been getting on?
Yeah, and I was one of the early birds. So I mean, maybe I should just put it into context, Stuart, that there is an Ally app which is free, which I think is for both iOS and Android, and this app is fantastic. So what it does when you go into the app, you can actually tell it your likes and your dislikes and your own specific needs. So, say for example, I went in and told it my hobbies, or I liked steak or sausages, for example. When I was reading a menu, it would just recommend things that I liked and it would avoid things that I didn't like. And what I've also managed to do is put prompts into it. So you know how we're discussing scene descriptions earlier on. What I would could do is take a picture and actually speak to it and say, "Can you just take a look and describe my surroundings?" And what I've managed to get it to do in the app is say, okay, you've got a desk and an office chair. The desk is about 3 steps away on your right hand side. And if you want to get to the desk, you've got a clear path and there are no obstacles or any dangers or changes in ground level. It's unbelievable, to be honest, what I've managed to get it to do. And again, we can spend a whole webinar on it, I think. So I would encourage people to download and try the Ally app. Now, the glasses at the moment, Stuart and I were saying, we think at the moment they're a wee bit like a version 1 product at the minute. I think they've got a bit of work to do, but they are pretty much, you would think they were a pair of reading glasses, to be honest. They come with clear lenses, and the camera's on the left-hand side, and there is a touchpad and a power button on the right. And the phone is the processor. So really, the glasses are just a wearable camera, to be quite honest with you. So when you go into the app connects with the glasses, and then you can just put your phone in your pocket, and you can hold the touchpad in on the side of the glasses and just ask it things. You can ask it anything and everything. Read documents, describe what's around you, what am I holding in my hand, and everything is done. The app is the processor. So everything you have programmed in the app, the glasses will do. The only thing at the moment, I think they're great, but I do find when the battery drops below 70%, I'm having a lot of problems with connection issues. And sometimes the AI just doesn't seem to be as accurate as it is on the Ally app, but I am constantly feeding back to the developers, and they're working on changes and upgrades all the time.
Good stuff. So yeah, a bit of a work in progress, and I suppose hopefully the software can improve and make the hardware that people have already even better. And I suppose it's good to know that there's choice out there as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and more will come. More smart
More will
glasses will
come.
come as
Yeah.
well.
I often thought, Stuart, and you're somebody who's tested a lot of mobility tech in the last couple of years. I almost thought where we need to get to is where a pair of smart glasses will have everything inside them, your obstacle detection and all the information that we need to know that we're getting from other pieces of tech at the moment. And maybe we'll get there someday.
Eventually, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, I'm going to go back to raised hands for a sec because I see Sandy Tompkins, who's always stimulates us with great questions and is always doing really interesting things as well, in particular in the space of navigation, GPS, mobility. She's a big advocate for NaviLens. So Sandy is in Tipperary, and Sandy, you should be able to unmute yourself. We have
There
you.
we go.
I'm here.
How are you?
Right.
How are you?
I'm very well. Listen, happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas to you.
Very good. And where's my present?
Jade has it, I think. No, Stuart Beveridge has it. Sorry,
right,
Stuart
well,
Beveridge.
I am recording this. Okay. Now, what I want to say is this: just two observations. One, with WhatsApp and the Meta glasses, something I did a few weeks ago was I was on a voice call on WhatsApp to my partner, and we were just chatting. Might have been on a train, and I needed to know something about what was happening on the train, like the trolley was coming along or something. And my dog was, of course, stretched across the aisle, being a professional. And I double tapped the camera button on the glasses, and my partner was offered, "Do you mind if this goes to a video call?" And he said, "Yeah." No, whatever. He accepted it, and it switched on to video. So that's quite nice to know. So you can just be using them on ordinary call, voice call, audio call on WhatsApp, and you can use the button to switch it on to camera. And I think you can do it again and switch it off. So it's just worth knowing. And the other thing is, with all these apps for reading, for identifying and all that, well, I get sick of it, to be honest. I think, there's just loads of them by the time I've fired it up and everything. So what I use is I think it's called the Measuring app, but basically it's built in to the iOS, a 4-finger treble tap. And it starts it up and you're offered scene, doors, text, a few things. You just flick, double tap on the one you want. I use it a lot for text, and it's really good. It's really good. It's, not for reading a book, but for identifying stuff, finding signage. It's just brilliant. It's really quick. And the other thing is, if you choose scene, I've got 2 dogs and a cat here, and they're often lurking about the place. I don't know where they are, and have I shut them out and all that kind of stuff. And I just go around looking for the dog, and it says,
It might say big white polar bear. Well, that's my white dog. You know what I mean? It can hallucinate, but it's useful. It's really good enough to actually do the job. So and you can walk around. You say I'm looking for the door. It'll find the door. It's just built in. It's really useful. People don't seem to know about it. So give it a go. Four finger, triple tap, anywhere. You'd be anywhere.
Is this the bit that's connected to LiDAR, Sandy?
On my phone, it will be using LiDAR because I've got a 16 Pro. And I don't know what you get if you do this on, say, an 11. I don't know. But any of the ones that have LiDAR, yeah, I think it is using it too. Yeah, because it's giving you distance and identification. It's just really good. And, it's in the system. You don't have to find an app. You just four finger, triple tap, and you've got a choice of channels. First one is scene, the bottom one is text. And they're the two that I use nearly all the time. And I must say, I use that probably 10 times a day. I mean, I use it all the time. It's really useful.
So just give us that gesture once more, Sandy.
Four fingers, triple.
Four fingers, triple. Okay.
Right.
And I make a comment on that as well there. You can actually put it on your rotor as well. It's called live description, I think it's called. And you can have it on your rotor if the four finger gesture is too complicated.
Yeah. And I should think you could make a shortcut for it if the
you could change the gesture as well, yes, in the iOS commands.
And then to get out of it, you can either repeat the four finger triple tap or do a scrub gesture, and that gets rid of it too. And it's just gone. But it'll carry on talking while your other things run in the background. It's not interrupted. It's actually really excellent. And I don't know anyone else who uses it. So give it a go.
Okay, great tip. Thank you, Sandy.
One last question. The doodle, the Braille doodle.
Yep.
I've never seen one yet. I don't really need one. But I would like to know something. If someone puts a small map, on top of the Braille doodle and use the stylus to draw out the lines of the roads so that a person can actually then feel, does it work? So that you can actually, it's a bit like using a tracing paper. So you draw out using the stylus. Will it work?
If it's thin enough, so the stylus actually comes with some stencils for drawing. So there's one of a house, for example.
No, I wouldn't be interested in anything of that. I want something where I can actually use the real thing,
Yeah.
I get sick of a house,
It has to be thin enough because otherwise the stylus won't get through to the ball bearings underneath it.
Well, it's magnet, isn't it?
Yeah, but it has to go down to draw on them. So if the paper is blocking it, it may not get through.
It won't get through.
It won't?
No.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I have. It won't get through. You would want something like tissue paper.
Right.
Like if you're just putting a map up, it genuinely, the paper is too thick.
Right. So you think it would have to be something that would be unworkable, like tissue paper?
Yeah, or you'd want someone who has a really good eye that could kind of copy it for you.
Yeah. No, that defeats the object from what I mean.
Yeah.
So, okay. So then I won't buy one.
Sorry, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy. Thanks for coming along. Okay. I just wanted to go back to Leah in case there's any chats that you want to mention to us, Leah.
There's a couple of things. So Joe Fullerton just wanted to mention that this was back a couple of minutes ago. Just wanted to mention that models of the iPhone 16 have the extra left side button and the larger camera button on the right, both customizable as the 17 models, and they are around £300 cheaper than the 17 Pro. So thanks for sharing that, Joe. There was a message from Porrick McLaughlin.
I think he just said hello.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah, maybe it's a hello. Hello,
hiya,
everyone.
Porrick. Good to see you. Yeah.
Brilliant. Hello, Porrick. So then we had Lucy. So just to go back to the Gemini things in terms of the Meta glasses. So Lucy is actually a rehab worker and is very, very familiar with all of the different apps such as Seeing AI and Envision. But she just wanted to understand, and I'm not sure if it was clarified for Lucy, she wanted to understand why I understand. So she understands why Gemini is not good for reading text in full, but I was just interested to hear that the Meta glasses can do this. I thought they would have similar restrictions to Gemini due to them doing it using AI, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
the Meta glasses will read verbatim.
Okay.
And then you can also pull out information like say if there's a phone number, can you tell me the phone number? It'll bring that out. I've never
I,
used Gemini to read anything, but I would do the Meta glasses 100%. They
Yeah.
read
yeah,
verbatim.
I would
Okay. So,
corroborate what Jackie says there as well. Similar experience as well.
okay. So, the Meta glasses. Okay. Perfect. Does that answer Lucy's question? I think. Um,
I think that's good, yeah.
so brilliant. So the next message is from James Cummings. Um, in my role as a VRS, I've seen the Ali app hallucinate quite badly while reading text, make up stuff that simply isn't there. It would have had a blind gentleman attend a meeting that simply wasn't on the agenda. Consequently, I would worry about it reading meds related information and correspondence generally. Um, it doubtless has potential, but I wouldn't be recommending that at present. I've listened to Stuart's NOA demos, very good, really enjoyable, but I was troubled by the IA's inability to distinguish between upwards and downwards. And he is asking, is this still the case, Stuart, as far as apps for iOS go? I love seeing AI and VD scan when it comes to reading text.
Okay, so
Ha-
let's go to Stuart Beveridge for that one then.
yeah, I'll happily take most of this. Yep. So on the ally thing, Jim. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that they are working on OCR and helping you to accurately position the document. I think this is the problem, that you're actually just kind of holding the document at random over, holding the camera of the phone or the glasses at the document, and you don't really know the position. I think that's the problem, and I've had some seriously poor results. I've had some good results if the text is clear enough, but I've also had some bad ones. So once they get the OCR in there, the automatic page detection, etc., that should clear that up, and that is coming. Um, on the NOAA side, we haven't mentioned this, but partly it was my fault in a lot of ways, Jim, when I was doing the demonstrations, and I didn't know this, but to do the demonstrations, I was actually holding a Bluetooth speaker up to my wearable microphone. And the way I was holding it, there was just a certain part of the Bluetooth speaker that was obstructing a portion of the camera, believe it or not. And it took me weeks to work this out. And once I did, it's actually the device is performing absolutely fine. It's recognizing, up and down. It's recognizing ascending and descending. It's recognizing right and left. It's because of my unforeseen, unintentional errors actually obstructing the camera slightly with the Bluetooth speaker, getting it in its way to get the best possible sound. That was actually the problem.
And could I just take the one about AI reading medication? I would not trust AI 100% to read medication. I would use something like Ira, because I got seeing AI to read, and it says, "Do drink alcohol and don't keep out of the reach of children."
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm like, okay.
And
So
just
I wouldn't trust
just on the
that.
medication, I mean, there are actually low tech solutions. You can ask your pharmacist to give you like a blister pack with all your meds in each day. There are pill organizers. So there's lots of options that you can actually get without relying on this anyway.
Okay, some great tips there.
Brilliant.
I'm just conscious we're almost coming to the top of the hour, as they say. I just want to mention, because we mentioned Noah there a moment ago, the Noah system, which Stuart Beveridge has done a lot of work on in the past, and Stuart has a podcast called
Noah Cast.
NoahCast, which is really, really good. If you're interested in Noah, even if you don't have the device, Stuart goes through it step by step. So do have a listen to that. But I wanted to give a shout out, or rather let Stuart Haxel give a shout out for another great podcast. So Stuart.
Ah, yes, thank you. Me and Jackie over here have actually started our own podcast. We call it Tech Access, and we're going through different bits and pieces of technology that we use in our own daily life and how basically we use technology. And all the hosts on it are blind or visually impaired. There are around four primary hosts on it. So, and there's some very interesting jingles that we've created in it. And so we only have the introductory episode up there so far, but yeah, just it's should be on any podcast app of choice, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and we have a YouTube as well. The introductory episode is up there as well. And we have a Facebook page as well if you want to follow us there, called Tech Access.
And I'm also demonstrating the air fryer on our next podcast. Edward.
Okay. Available wherever you get your podcasts, as they say.
Absolutely, yes.
We're looking forward to listen to the next one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stuart, and thanks,
And
Jackie.
I'm not going to attempt to say the email address after that first episode. So
Okay.
listen to the introductory episode and you'll know why.
Okay. No, it's a great show. Definitely worth giving a listen. Nice, great group of presenters. Now, we always do this towards the end of the show. We ask Stuart Beveridge to sort of help us glimpse ahead a little bit into 2026 and some of the tech he might be looking forward to, or even things that any of you on the panel are looking forward to. So I'm happy to kind of go around to anyone else who might want to comment on this. But let's start with Stuart Beveridge. Stuart, I know there's been lots of tech discussed in the last hour over the last year. Are you excited for 2026?
I am. I mean, I think the smart glasses side is really going to take off next year. And I think there will be more, hopefully from big companies coming. And I can also tell you, now I can't say too much in case that this never materializes, but I am working on consulting, at least at the moment, with a view to actually being completely part of the whole experience from the ground up, on ones that you actually don't need to have a mobile phone to work with. They just work independently. Now, as I say, this might never happen, but I'm putting my heart and soul into it. So watch this space for a possible pair of new and completely standalone smart glasses next year. And I think AI is just going to improve, navigation hopefully is going to improve as well. And hopefully, possibly even maybe I might manage to finally get my hands on the Glide device, which I have pre-ordered some time back. So again, I think it's going to be an interesting year, and hopefully I can come back again to let you know what I've been playing with.
I think you've just signed yourself up to come back, Stuart. So, and Glide, interesting. We'll be very interested to hear how you get on with Glide, because those of us in this part of the world won't get to use Glide in 2026, I don't believe. Just before we go to the rest of the panel, something I meant to say at the start of the show is that if you follow the Sight and Sound webinar Wednesday channel, so we have a webinar on the first Wednesday of every month. We are moving to Microsoft Teams for those webinars starting in January. And if you don't follow the Sight and Sound webinar channel and you'd like to be, if you'd like to be notified of any webinars we're having, please get in touch with us by dropping an email to sales@sightandsound.co.uk, or put your email in the chat and we'll get it after the show. I just quickly go around the panel just to any thoughts for what you guys might be looking forward to next year. Let's just randomly pick on Jackie. You sound like a good person to start with. Anything you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to see what else is going to come on to the Meta glasses. Really looking forward to see what else they can do with them.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, it sounds like and I think I'm interested in that screen reader they're going to bring to Meta. Stuart Haxel?
Apple smart glasses. I'm very curious to see what Apple will do in this sphere as well, because that could be very interesting if all the apps that they have on their app store, like that are already there, will they have access to the camera through like the continuity features and stuff like that? Because that will I think that will really, when they come out, it'll really show what the smart glasses market will end up being like really in the
Okay.
future.
Declan, you're going to switch to iOS next year or not?
We'll see. I'm gonna try this new Titan 2 anyway. I'm gonna change over Christmas and see how I get on. But is the keyboard worth it if you still can't read the emails properly? I genuinely hope they improve, but no, I think I could end up in iOS. But I'm actually hoping to do more coding next year, so maybe robots, maybe more music, maybe some radio projects. It all depends on what I can get up off the ground. But I do have a big kind of board here with me with loads of breakout boards for circuits. So we're going to try and do accessible electronics lessons next Easter. So that's one thing, and I might be coming back to you to offer that out to adults in Ireland as well. So yeah, lots of research into how to teach coding and electronics to people, and that's my hope for next year.
I want to sign up for the if you're doing a class on building robots, I want to go. Jade, what are you looking forward to next year?
Um, so for me, I'm not a Braille user. I'm a basic Braille reader, but for me, one thing I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing brought to Ireland is a device called the Codex, which is a device that uses compressed air to refresh for refreshable Braille cells. And when we saw it brought to TU Dublin back in October, I thought this really does have potential for people. It's a fantastic device, and I would love to see it developed and brought maybe into Ireland.
Okay, watch this space for Codex is all I can say. I agree with you. It's a very interesting Braille display and also has touch-sensitive Braille cells, so you can double tap and do all sorts of
I
things.
like that you could play games on it. That for me was
Play
was
games,
huge.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Has a
I'm
good
not
version of
even a
Hangman.
Braille user, and I was impressed.
Wow.
Leah, anything you're looking forward to next year? I know you're only in the door, but
Yeah,
anything you're looking forward to?
I suppose I think the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to next year is connecting with people that are using the technology. Because there's so much research I can do and there's so much demos I can try, but it's really about the people. So I'm looking forward to meeting lots of people and connecting with people across the UK, Ireland, and just learning about new technology. Because yeah, I think that's the most important for me. Because obviously technology is forever changing. So even being away from assistive technology for a year or so in a different role, but yeah, so that's what I'm most excited about is connecting with people and
Brilliant. Thanks,
learning.
Leah. And last but not by
What about
no
Ken?
means least is Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here and I'm thinking, definitely looking forward to seeing what Apple come out with next year. Will they move away from their standard three phones and what they'll do with iOS 27? So just that in general, looking forward to see what comes out.
And
Okay.
Stuart, the question goes to you now. What?
Oh,
Oh,
right. Well, funny because Jade mentioned Codex, and I'm very interested in Codex, but I am also interested in what else can happen in the multi-line Braille space. I think this is the first time that we've really seen multi-line Braille becoming practically useful. We've had it for a few years, but now screen readers are starting to implement really innovative ways to use multi-line Braille, for example, in a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. I think that's really interesting. There's some really interesting multi-line Braille technology out there. So it's one to watch for next year, definitely. Okay, thank you everybody. That just about wraps up our webinar Festive Friday. I want to say a big thanks as always to Stuart Beveridge from Seescape for giving us his expertise and his time. And Stuart, as you've heard, has just signed himself up to come back next year. Thanks to Declan, Jade, Stuart Haxel, Jackie and Ken from the Fighting Blindness DigiCoach project. We're absolutely delighted that you guys were able to come along and share the webinar with us, and maybe you guys come back next year.
Well, can we just, on behalf of the DigiCoach project, thank you for allowing us to join forces with you this year.
We're delighted. And thanks, of course, to my colleague Leah Kane for helping us manage all our chat. Guys, that's it for this year. It's been a pleasure at Sight and Sound. We've enjoyed working with all our partners throughout the year. We wish you all a very happy Christmas. We're back with Webinar Wednesday on the 7th of January. That's a Wednesday at 2 p.m. But until then, take care, everybody. And thanks for a great session. Goodbye.